Not so fun fact, our free, taxpayer-funded healthcare here in Canada is not at all designed for people with chronic illnesses at all. Just like not at all. Hey guys, Dani here and welcome to my little corner of the internet. I am officially a small business owner. Small business is called the Pink Pooch, named after my service dog Evie, where I design dog and disability related stationery, kind of like this kind of stuff. This is the Torture Poets department, well, Torture Pets department. And I'm hoping to expand into other stationery products. Why, you might ask, am I doing all of this? Well, that's because my spine is slowly fusing together because I was recently diagnosed with something called Ankylosing Spondylitis. And in order to preserve my ability to walk as long as possible, I need to come up with $500 a month after insurance for medication that is apparently liquid gold. So here we are. If you are super confused, do not worry. I'm going to explain everything from the very beginning. If you want to, you can go back on my channel and see like the older videos that I used to make, like yearly recaps of my life, which kind of go into aspects of what has been going on as it has been going on. But here is kind of the brief recap. So in 2018, 6 weeks before I finished my undergrad degree, I tore my MCL with a grade 2 tear that I got while working at a daycare. Now, typically this kind of injury would have about a 6 to 8 week healing period, but for me, it just was not healing at all. The daycare that I was working at and that I got injured at fired me pretty much almost immediately after I got injured, and the university that I was at the time wanted me to repeat my entire final year instead of accommodating me so that I could finish the last 6 weeks of school while being injured. Shortly after that, I ended up in the hospital again because I had a really bad reaction to some medication, and that's when they discovered that there was some sort of heart condition, which just kind of added to the whole mess. But because I did eventually graduate in that 6 weeks, I had to fight to get my accommodations, but I didn't have a job. I could not pay for the treatment needed in order to heal from this MCL injury. I will probably do an entire separate video at some point about all the holes that I have figured out that are in our Ontario healthcare system. But for example, physiotherapy is not covered under OHIP. So if you have no money, you're not in school, so that means I got kicked off of my parents' healthcare because I graduated. I didn't have a job. I'm injured. I was just kind of out of luck in terms of getting care. I had to fight super hard to get put back on my mom's insurance as a disabled dependent. But by the time I got through doing all of that so that I could access my care, and we realized that I would need surgery on this MCL tear, COVID hit and my surgery got delayed.
More than 4,400 new cases were reported in Ontario today, adding to the already enormous strain on hospitals. Record numbers of COVID patients need intensive care. Hospitals in the Greater Toronto area have been told to close their pediatric units to free up space and staff. Elective and non-urgent surgeries are being postponed. And that may not be enough. The situation in Ontario hospitals has never been more dire.
Fast forward to 2023, I finally am able to get my surgery, but I'm still in a lot of pain that nobody can explain. At first, I was medically gaslit into just telling me it's my weight, it's all in my head, it's because I don't want to put any weight on my knee, blah, 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 and everyone dismissed me. I had to work very hard to find a medical team of people who actually believed me and believed my pain and were willing to do the tests that were necessary to figure out what was going on. Because these doctors finally believed me, they actually did an MRI of my back, my spine, and my knee to kind of figure out what was going on and figure out why I was having so much pain in these areas. Now, you would think that even after being diagnosed with an MCL tear that somebody would have done an MRI between 2018 and 2023, but no, nobody did. And when they finally did in 2023 is when I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis. It is also suspected that I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or EDS, but that has not been fully confirmed or ruled out as of yet because there is only one specialist clinic in all of Ontario called the Good Hope Clinic here in Toronto that can diagnose you, and I'm still waiting for my follow-up appointment with them. At the time that I got diagnosed, I was working a job that had health benefits. I thought I was going to be okay because when they told me that I had AS, they were explaining how expensive this medication was, but it was my best shot as like slowing down my spine fusing together so that I could preserve walking as long as possible. I also right now don't have the best rheumatologist, so like no one has fully explained to me how all of this works because my appointments are only ever 5 minutes long, but from what I can find on the internet, it seems as though like your body is creating like way too much calcium, and that calcium builds up around your spine, and your spine has bones, and then the calcium builds up, fuses the spine together, and then you're no longer able to walk. So this medication, which is a biologic, is supposed to like kind of slow down that process and preserve my ability to walk as long as possible. I thought I was good because I had set myself up in a job that had health insurance, still had my mom's health insurance, so between the two, I was gonna be okay. Except then my boss's dog attacked me, injured me, and of course we do the same song and dance as when you get injured. They immediately fire you, and now I'm screwed again. Currently with that injury, my thumb is still messed up. I can't even do like a thumbs up, like here's the difference, which means that I cannot kind of use my degrees that I currently have because this is my instrument playing hand, specifically with like guitar. So I can't go back to teaching music and the things that I was doing prior because I literally still can't play guitar and I can't play piano because of this injury. It's still, I don't know if you can see like the complete discoloring of my hand, but there's that. Can't really do much film work because this hand, like the opposable thumb is the problem here. Can't grip a lot of things, can't grip a lot of heavy things. So film industry is still kind of a no. So this is how we've landed on my undergrad minor of graphic design and partly how we started to get to the Pink Pooch. The Pink Pooch is named after my super adorable service dog Evie and her iconic pink tail because let's be so for real, I couldn't name the business Evie and get Nintendo to come and sue me. So that's how we got to the Pink Pooch. And I really wish that I could give you some super inspirational reason why I am starting a small business, but I believe in honesty, and let's be so for real, I don't have $500 a month to pay for my medication. And I need to figure out a way to make $500 a month and pay for my medication. That is the main driving force behind me taking the leap into starting this small business. Yes, I do have passion in graphic design. I do enjoy it. Like I said, it was my minor in university. And I do want to be able to use this company to eventually help others and also create resources for people with disabilities and who have service dogs and help spread awareness about the laws here in Ontario and service dog laws here in Ontario because they are different from like the US, but we get very bombarded with like people only knowing the US laws even though we are not in America. So I do have like valid reasons, I guess, to start this business, but being so for real, I have to figure out a way to afford this medication. I do like dog things. I am immersed in the dog community. All throughout this kind of like injury journey that I've had over the last couple of years, I've pretty much lost all of my friends and all of my community. And once I got my service dog Evie in 2020, I started to rebuild a community around that, and that's where I met some of the best people. And all of my friends and my entire community comes from the dog community now. So that is also partly why I decided to kind of go towards a dog thing, because I have seen the good that being a part of the dog community brings and the joy that it brings to people, and I would love to share that joy with other people. All of these things combined led me to making dog and disability stationery. It kind of combines the little aspects of who I am and the things I want to do. Like I said, I did have a minor in graphic design in my undergrad, as well as I am now taking even more college courses, like continuing education courses in graphic design right now to improve my skills as like just something to do while I was recovering, and I'm continuing to do that as well. And I would really love for this business to hopefully one day grow to the point where we can help other people fund service dogs. I know how expensive they are. I know how expensive it is especially when you're disabled, because being disabled is expensive in and of itself, to fund a service dog, even though it's life-saving medical equipment for some people. So I would love to have a business that can grow to the point where I can help other people get this life-changing, life-altering, like, medical equipment, because that's what service dogs are. They're medical equipment. If this journey of watching me trying to figure out how to start and grow a small business is something that is interesting to you, feel free to follow along. But full transparency, all of these videos that I'm going to be putting out are going to be slightly delayed in my attempt to actually be consistent on YouTube for the first time in my entire life. So everything is going to be at least a month behind. But that's just so that I can film everything, start editing everything, and actually like put out videos actually consistently, hopefully every single week, but I really still make no promises on that one. Everything I do and everything I have to do when it comes to this small business is going to have to be done a little bit differently just because of my disabilities. So for example, I do markets, and markets are actually quite hard and do a lot of planning on my end. Because of my disability, I should not be lifting like a whole bunch of heavy stuff all the time, and I do need help, and I have to find help and all of those types of things. So if following that journey and seeing how somebody with a disability grows their small business a little bit differently than most of the people that you see who do small business content, then this is the place to be. I will also continue to be making other disability related content on this channel, so it's not just going to be like small business stuff every single week. But I do hope that this is something that is interesting to all of you. I hope that you guys check out my website. It's already live. I am going to be updating it soon, but it is live right now. Feel free to check out the products. I would love honest feedback on the stuff that I already have on there. And just thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next week.